Well, that happened. It's the Catechin. Kentucky was arguably the better team for 38 minutes and 30 seconds last night. But as I always tell my wife, a minute and a half is actually a long amount of time. Kentucky falls to Texas 82-78. Fellas, how are you feeling?
Probably better than your wife, I guess, but not great, man. This is a game they should have won there at the end. I think all things considered, like losing that game isn't the worst indictment on a team in the world, but it's how they lost it that was pretty frustrating. They definitely had control of it, like you said, for most of the entirety of the game, and then just really fell apart in just almost inexplicable ways. Just couldn't inbound the ball, just really faltering on all ends. And it happens, I guess, but it wasn't fun.
Yeah, that's we just need to get healthy. Definitely not a fun way to lose either. Losing's never fun. It's not fun to get blown out. It's also not fun to have a slight lead all game and then sort of blow it with some sloppy play at the end. But all things considered, with the injuries we have, the guys playing roles they maybe didn't expect to, I was pleasantly surprised most of the game, even as sloppy as it looked, how tight we kept it.
This is still a quad one loss, right?
Yeah,
Of course.
I feel like when you read online, it says like, "Oh, Kentucky can't seem to beat an unranked team on the road or anything like that." I feel like we're getting a little bit too hung up on what the number is next to the team on the screen and not really looking at like, because the tournament committee isn't going to be looking at like, oh, what did the AP have them the week that they played. They're going to be looking at these quad one metrics and everything like that. So I'm not too hung up on what the Associated Press thinks of the teams that we're playing. Is it quad one, quad two? So quad one loss. It
quad
doesn't
1A
stink that we
even.
lost. Oh, okay. See, it doesn't stink so much that we lost. It's just the way that we did when we had it, and then just couldn't lock in for the full amount of time.
One thing that I think is important for people to keep in mind is in a previous episode, we've talked about wins above bubble and how that's something that is going to be on the team sheet for the tournament selection committee this year. Essentially, it is take a hypothetical bubble team. So probably, you have your net pick number 40 or, somewhere around there, hypothetical bubble team. What are the chances they would win this game, factoring in home, neutral, or away? And then, so if you have a 20% chance to win and you do win, that's plus 0.8 wins above bubble, because you would win 80% of a game more than a bubble team would there. And so at the end of the year, when they're looking at all these teams, that's a factor they see. Using that metric, this is our third most reasonable loss. And you think, okay, yeah, well, whatever, who cares? But it shows the disconnect, I think, between how people feel about these losses. I mean, this is more reasonable than the Alabama loss under this metric.
Wow.
And that's kind of crazy, given that we think of Alabama as this.
But the little itty bitty numbers next to their name.
Yeah,
Alabama
right,
had
and
that.
that's my point. And when people say that this is a terrible loss, it just isn't. It's a
Especially with
decent
the
team on the road,
extenuating circumstances.
right?
Yeah.
This actually would have been a huge win.
Given with
Which,
no point guard, no Jackson, just everything we've been dealing with. I mean, it would have been, it should have been, is the thing. I think that's where I'm frustrated. Is
that's
it
where
should have been, they did everything, they did enough to, I think it was 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. They went up 6 on the Amari layup, if my memory serves. And then they just fell apart at that point, essentially. And they lose the game by 4, really lost by 7, had probably a bad beats 3 somewhere that wrecks some parlay or something along the way. I don't know, but either way, it was a 3 possession game at the end of the night.
there was a
That
little exchange with I think like a minute 30 left, and Texas was at the free throw line, and they missed their free throw, and then we didn't get the rebound. Texas gets the offensive rebound and then scores again. We had to call a timeout. I feel like the game was lost there. That's really just what it comes down to. That and the bad inbounds pass.
Yeah. Two
Inexcusable.
bad inbounds.
Bad inbounds passes, both.
Yeah, back to
Yeah.
back. It was, yeah, it was terrible. But yeah, I think you might have been right there, where that offensive rebound or when one place that didn't work, we didn't benefit either, is they called that lane violation on Amari, and it shouldn't have been. He was pretty clearly okay to go, and he did, and they called that, and they took a bucket off the board for that. But the miss, because didn't they hit a three, like on not just score again, Jared, off that offensive rebound? I think they hit a three, didn't they?
I thought it was like a big momentum dunk, but
Maybe that's what it was. It was something like that. It was something that really shifted things. And they had a kid go off. They clearly had the best player on the court,
no doubt,
and
arguably the best two between.
Yeah, I think
Ray
so.
Johnson
And
and Draymond Mark.
I think Brea put a lot of pressure on himself and couldn't get his shot going the way he wanted to. They were really physically, wearing on him. It felt like he had a really. It's probably his low point as a Cat. Would you say probably his worst game?
I mean, he went over until like I think under 4.
Yeah, I think he's had games where
all of his
he's
points
gone
were
over,
free throws.
And that it is interesting. And by the way, does Travis Perry have to like literally get a concussion and to get a foul call? He got like knocked into the stratosphere on that one layup, and they didn't call anything. What? But that one was kind of. I mean, that's a tailbone breaker right there. That dude got like just depleted. Nothing. Not even. And it didn't seem like anyone else seemed to like. The announcer didn't seem to think so. Like, did he just fall sideways naturally after going? I don't know. Interesting enough, but. I feel like they played like freshmen at times. And they played, like they weren't freshmen at times, the Kentucky kids. But all in all, disappointing to lose that one, man.
I thought Noah again. I mean, he may have had some
Unreal.
freshman moments, but I thought Noah had a pretty good game. 7 and 6.
Yeah.
In 20 minutes. Again, just constant effort from him. That's good to see. Travis, I thought actually. I mean, he had 3 turnovers, but he played 28 minutes. Against Trey Johnson, and definitely, I mean, got out athleted several times, but you'd expect that Trey Johnson's going to be a lottery pick. I mean, it's
I mean, there's levels
playing in
to it.
Lyon County 8 months ago.
Yeah. With it's the first
barn.
game. It's the first game I've seen where Travis didn't look uncomfortable out there, especially on I guess really offense or defense. Like I guess he didn't play very well on defense, but there's reasons for that. But it's the first time where he just seemed to just fit in as a cog into the offense, and he looked better than he has in any game I've seen before against this quality of opponent.
I had one other gripe. Yeah, I agree with that. Did you guys feel like? And I'm very cautious to ever question effort. I really, because through a TV screen it's tough, and I don't. I'm not a body language expert. No one is really. If that isn't one, right? If you would know. And I didn't like BG not contesting on layups. Like he had 3 fouls when he had no fouls. I gotta be honest. There was a couple times where he just it was it's the type of Olay defense you play when you've got a couple fouls or you're already beat. You don't want to add to the problem, right? And it just didn't make sense to me. I'm sure that it'll get addressed if I'm seeing it, Pope seeing it, right? Like clearly,
Yeah.
But that felt strange to me because he has had like really big effort and plays throughout the season. He's kind of had some big time athletic effort type plays, And I just wonder if something was off with him a little bit because that just seemed out of character, I guess.
I'm with you. I'm hesitant to criticize effort, and I think we needed. I mean, we can talk about Perry and Noah and Chandler, whatever, but I think to win this game down the guys we needed bigger games. Not necessarily needed them to try harder because I'm sure Kobe Bryant was out there working his ass off and just wasn't hitting anything. But we needed a bigger game from Brea. We needed a bigger game from BG. Needed probably a bigger game from Ansley, even though he got to the line, he hits free throws, he shot reasonably, had a couple rebounds, but we needed our older guys who are healthy to to step up in a way that didn't materialize.
It did
Not
feel
even
like
yeah,
at some points that Ortega was sort of pressing a bit too hard
forcing.
on
Mhm.
offense, trying to do too much, but he kind of had to with the way the game was going, and
I
we're
can
running out
kind
of
of
options
agree.
on offense.
We seem to stop making cuts and we seem to stop setting good screens. We kind of got a little plugged up, it felt like, because if you think about it, Amari can distribute the ball, right? We can still have Brea come off screens, Perry can shoot, Noah can shoot. Everybody can shoot. I mean, didn't Amari hit one, right? He
Amari can
did.
shoot.
Yeah.
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 Apparently it, he hit one too. And so it felt a little strange at times. Ortega, and I wonder if some of the frustration at the end of the game kind of came from everybody was a little bit forcing, right? Like it seemed like, hey, I'm going to try a tough two. I'm going to, it's going to be like, even, Perry tried to get a couple in, everybody really went away from what we usually do. And Ortega definitely forced. And he's got a lot of $1 million moves and 10-cent finishes at times. Like I really want some of those to go because like it's highlight reel stuff when he's got a spin in the key. But then we'll miss the layup, and that does probably get pretty frustrating. But I agree. It seemed like he was pressing pretty hard towards the end
You
there.
think Ortega needs to see like a shot doctor or something in the offseason because he's got this weird hitch on the end of it where it really lets guys be able to close out on the shot when he's wide
Yeah,
open.
I think he had 2 blocked at least.
Yeah.
2 that
I
I
I,
remember last
I
night.
don't know. I think that for me, I'm always super hesitant for to change. You're here. You've gotten to this point with that jumper.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes you can really mess things up by trying to change it. I know, and everyone will try to. If you've got, I mean, Ian Martinez just took a three, and he's got the biggest hitch in a shot in the world, but it goes down sometimes. Um, it doesn't look super pretty, but I don't want to change it. I feel like that would be.
I love his game. It's just when he has an open three, it takes him a while to get the shot off. He's like the opposite of Ansley, whereas Ansley, I don't think I've seen a guy in a Kentucky uniform get a shot off quicker than Ansley Almanor. But Ortega, it's like if he's got space to be open, he's not as open as you would think.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. He needs to
One
make sure
thing,
his feet are behind the line too. I keep feeling like he's really playing fate with his toes on that line, man. Like I'm all for shooting a nice mid-range jumper, but please God, don't shoot a toe on the line three.
I'm
Don't
I'm
shoot a
not
mid-range
unhappy with him
jumper either.
shooting a mid-range jumper.
I'm aware, Ben. I'm fully
His,
cognizant of
I
this.
mean, we were
Start calling you
complaining about
caliper.
this in November, and I'm sure his percentage has only gotten worse since then.
Wow. Seems like a real
I
negative
had
outlook there.
I mean, it's just a bad shot. It's a bad shot every time he takes it. And even when he hits it, I sit there and I say, why?
Because it
It's
went
worse
in.
news when he does because then he's going to take more.
Yeah, right, right.
They're not all
I,
bad.
I
Okay,
had
go
the sense,
carry on.
I had the sense last night, especially late in the game, I felt like Amari had played really, really well. We ask so much of him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's also now, I mean, he played 27 minutes and he's been averaging like 20 this season. So we ask a ton of him anyway. There's so much movement and processing he has to do. We need him to defend well, which he does. We need him to run the offense. We now have him also bringing the ball up. But when you have him in there, those extra minutes, you also need to keep getting him the ball. I mean, he was feasting for a while. He was,
Yes, he was.
and he wasn't hitting his free throws at a super high rate, but he was getting to the line a ton. At some point, I know they highlighted he'd drawn 8 fouls.
Mm-hmm.
He, I wouldn't say scoring at will, but he was scoring pretty well. And especially late, there were several possessions where he was just standing there, calling for the ball, hand up, and they just didn't even try to get it to him. Let him work. If nothing else, it'll draw a defender in. And uh, I think we kind of got away from that as we stagnated late. And that was kind of a bummer for me
He is
because I
by
think he's
far
really, really great.
he's by far the hottest player on the team right now. He's playing
Yeah.
unbelievable. And I guess the good news is with him maintaining this consistency of play. If you were going to have 2 injuries on the team, it's not too bad that it's Lamont and Jackson that are out right now because those are 2 guys who can come back in And of anyone on the team, I feel like those are the guys who aren't going to miss a beat when they come
Right.
back. So I don't feel like that's going to mess up any sort of chemistry thing. So if we can just sort of tread water right now and win the games we're supposed to win, hopefully we get them back, or at least one of them, by the Alabama game. And I feel like if we're healthy come tournament time, if Amari's still playing like this and we get the Lamont and Jackson that we were getting before they got hurt, this team can still win the title.
Oh yeah, you get every piece back. Yeah, I mean, you beat Duke on a neutral court. I mean, obviously teams are a lot different from November, but when healthy, they can play with anybody. You're exactly right.
There's still positives to take away from yesterday. I mean, we almost won that game. Amari's playing out of his mind. We're missing Lamont. We're missing Jackson. Obviously, I don't think we're getting Kerr back, so there's no real point in saying that. But
Well, it does from a team building perspective. Like, he was the backup point guard. Like, we're always it's
no
gonna
doubt.
hurt the rest of the year, you know. No, but I get what you're saying. It's so you can't keep talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but we got almost nothing from Kobe and from Andrew Carr, and we still almost eked one out in a road quad 1A game. Like, I'm not gonna let this loss get me down.
So that same wins above bubble stat considered the Texas game the same difficulty. You get the same credit for winning, same penalty for losing as Florida at Rupp or Gonzaga neutral. I mean, those three it considers as identical games.
2 of our best wins of the year.
Right. Yeah, wins number 4 and 5.
Yeah. What did they get one? We got Duke one.
No, Tennessee in Knoxville. Duke number 2.
Yep. How do you guys feel about going into the Vandy game?
Fine. I think at Rupp and probably getting one of the 2 guys back, I'd imagine. I feel good about it. I don't know. They seem to bounce back well. I'd be pretty surprised if they lost this game too, but you know.
I feel good about it.
It could go either.
Go ahead,
I feel good. I mean, if you ask me, I think we win. But having just seen this, I think it goes either way. We without Lamont or Jackson. I mean, those are 2 huge pieces. Definitely still trying to learn how to play without them. It's tough to see guys playing in roles that aren't expected. Especially we keep talking about the 3 injuries. I actually think it's 3.5. I don't think Carr is any semblance of his former self.
Yeah,
and I think I said earlier, Ansley in the role we brought him in for, Carr's backup, perfect. Ansley in Carr's role, not perfect, and he's trying, but like that just isn't what we brought him in for. Kobe Brea as a total off ball, come off the screen, get open, shoot, great. Brea
as Jackson Robinson,
or Brea or Owe, especially as we saw last night, asked to do a ton of primary ball handling. Just not great, and I think that even more so than just like missing the offensive and defensive output of the guys that are out, we miss a lot in terms of then everyone else is playing out of position.
Yeah.
I like the Vandy game because we get this coaching staff. We won't have the first half collecting data or something like that. We've already played this team. I like giving this coaching staff another crack at a team that we've played before and lost to. So you're not going to have to get the guys locked in for this one.
No, yeah, that's a big point.
They know for a fact Vandy can beat them because they did. But we get them back in Rupp, and we get the coaching staff another crack at them. Especially between Pope and Feger, figuring out what to do against Vandy. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I like the staff giving time, even halftime adjustments. It seems to be a big deal. I like them giving us a second crack at a team for sure.
Just like I'd like our chances again against Ole Miss or Arkansas.
I know forcing turnovers isn't really our strong point, and our turnovers have certainly been up with Lamont and Jackson out. But we had 17 last time we played Vandy. and we only forced 5. And I think those are
Wow.
both sort of on the extreme ends. And it was still a 5-point game, even with 6 points from Amari, 6 points from Lamont.
Kind of similar to how we lost last night. I feel like we lost last night because of the turnovers. Even before the falling apart late in the game, the reason that Texas was staying in it was because of points off turnovers.
Right. Well, and we had long stretches of not being able to. It wasn't even that we couldn't score. We were scoring. We were just only hitting free throws.
Yeah.
It's like they fouled at good times and really hurt our momentum.
Insert comment about Doug Schau's here.
Right.
And we'll leave it at that.
I going back to his blown lane violation call. There's a video of it, slow-mo. He wasn't even looking at it. I mean, it was he blew the whistle because Amari got there so fast. I mean, you can watch his head as that happens, and he's looking at the rim. And I say, I mean, it may be like the play clock in football. They're supposed to look at the rim, then look back. But in slow-mo, you can see it's good, but he's not looking at Amari at all.
And no game comes down to a call, but I didn't like the momentum shift from there, and it became like a 5-point swing too. So,
well, fellas, I ain't got much else to talk about on here. I feel like we covered a big old bummer of a game, but spirits are high going into Vandy. Anything else you guys want to chit chat about?
you guys have a good Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Jared, speak up.
Hung out with the wife, did a nice steak dinner.
Oh my God, that sounds so nice for you, bro. So happy. Good.
Oh, you guys have good ones. You
It was gluten free.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, no buns. No, it was turbo dog shit. It wasn't great.
Word of the day. We got it.
No, it was cool. It was cool. It wasn't bad. It was just, like I said, gluten free.
Well,
just another
everybody,
day mid-February.
Right on. Well, guys, it's always good hanging out. We'll talk to you guys in a few days. Thank you, everybody, for still watching this, because our viewership drops down dramatically after losses, and that's not fair because I didn't lose shit. I stay a winner.
I missed that shot. I didn't miss those rebounds. No. I mean, I would have. I'd have got my ass kicked in this league, but I didn't, though. That's why I'm not out there. I'm not being asked to.
We're playing our role. Like we're putting up on our end.
Kinda. I mean, we didn't show up after. Oh, you had the flu. I know, but I mean, I'm sure like 4 out of 5 people don't believe that. But we can take a subscriber. All 5 of them. Take a poll. Oh my gosh.
But all right. Thank you for joining the Catechin. For Braden, for Ben, I'm Jared. Go Cats.
Go Cats.